Hey guys, welcome back. It is episode 3 of the Flossom Way podcast. I'm Anna Martina, and I cannot wait to share today's episode with you guys. I just literally got back from a weekend in Oklahoma City with Chaz, and it was amazing. One of the best weekends of my life, and it was full of so many different activities. I'm truly blessed. And as I was driving home today, thinking about the podcast that I wanted to record, so many different topics came up. But the one that stood out to me the most is to me or for me. To me or for me. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means and where I heard that. For those of you that don't know, this last year of 2020 has been a crazy ride for me, as it has been for many of you. And there is not a single thing today that is the same in my life as it was a year ago. I talked about that a little bit on the first episode of the Flossom Way podcast when I told you that I had gone through a divorce and a lot of transitions. And I thought, to be honest, okay, we made it through 2020. Like, everything's good. 2021 is going to be my comeback year. Everything's going to be amazing. And 3 weeks into the year, I lost my job. Suddenly, without warning, and devastatingly. And so I went into this panic mode of like, wait, what? Like, how is this happening? You know, and you go into survival mode, right? Like, how am I going to pay my bills? Like, I literally just moved across the country not even 6 months ago by myself, and I don't have a job anymore. How am I going to pay for this apartment? And I don't have a husband anymore, so there's no one to carry the financial burden. Like, it is all on me. And things just, it seems like this last year, so many things that I thought were crystal clear, like, yes, Anna, this is what you need. This is where you're supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So many things that I thought I knew, like, yeah, God, this is exactly what you're calling me to do. Felt like they were falling through. And it's this game of constantly like readjust. And I was listening to a call this week with our mentor, and Jessie Lee, and she was talking about her year in 2017 and how it was kind of like my 2020. And I would argue many of our 2020s, right? And she said something that I just have been holding on to all week. And what she said was, what's happening is happening for you, not to you. And at first I didn't know what she meant. And I was like, what are you talking about? And it hit me like, oh my gosh, I've been sitting here going like, I lost my marriage, I lost my house, I lost my life, I lost my job, I lost this, I lost my relationship with some family, I lost some friendships, I lost, like thinking about all the things that you've lost, or like, why is this happening? Like, God, I could have swore you called me to North Dakota to open up a nutrition club, and now here I am in Arkansas. Like, what is going on? How could I be so wrong? And it occurred to me that there are things that I've had in my life that have been really, really good. And I wouldn't have left them because I'm afraid of what if I make the wrong choice, or what if this was the best it was ever going to have, or you get comfortable, right? And I think that happened with my job. I've always had this vision of being like, honestly, it's not a vision. It's a recurring dream. Like, I've had recurring dreams since I was a little kid. There's 2 of them that stand out. They're very, very, very specific. One of them has pretty much come true. And the other one I feel like is on the cusp of coming true. But it couldn't have come true if I stayed in the position that I was in. And so I think I'm choosing to believe that God said, okay, Anna, if you're not going to move, then I'm going to move you. And he created an environment in which my safety net was no longer there. And I I was forced to grow and forced to change. And now I'm in this new opportunity that is everything I've wanted, everything I was afraid of and never thought I was worthy of. And yet in a position to be able to help people in a way on a larger scale than I ever have before. So when I think back to like losing my job, you know, a mere few weeks ago, I have to think, or I'm choosing to think like, remember, Anna, this is happening for you. It's not happening to you. It's not something that, you know, the world or God or the universe is trying to pull you down. Is that this is happening for your good so that you can grow, so that you can learn, so that you can have better, so you can help people, so you can stretch to what you're fully called to do in this world, right? And with losing my job came, you know, the financial fear of my apartment. So immediately, of course, I call my landlords and I'm like, hey, my gosh, I just lost my job. Like, I'm selling my house and I've got a plan. I just need some time. And there's the COVID laws where you can't get evicted till the 31st. But in the meantime, I'm getting these notifications that I'm behind on my rent and that if I don't pay by this amount by this date, then they're going to start the eviction process. Even though I have a signed document and even though I know that they can't do anything till the 31st, I don't like to have outstanding debt, right? Like I don't like to owe anybody money, right? And knowing that with a new change in job, like it takes a while to get paid and it takes a while for unemployment and just different things that I've had to go through, I feel like I've got this potential doom that they could, if they wanted to, evict me illegally, right? And the same day that we close on our house that I would get the money to pay my rent is the same day that the eviction could start and all of the things. And so it's just a scary process. And I feel like I'm in trouble. I feel like I'm in trouble and I don't like feeling like I'm in trouble. And so while I was in Oklahoma City this weekend, Chaz and I just really talked about it. And I said, you know, maybe it is the trauma of losing my job suddenly and without warning that has me feeling like I'm going to lose my house suddenly and without warning. And I had to stop. And I said, you know what? I just have to remember that if that happens, it's happening for me and it's not happening to me. Like something better is going to come along. There's something greater that's on the horizon. And if God moves me, it's because he's planting me. Even though sometimes there's a quote, even when it feels like you're being buried, you may just be planted. And I have to remember that. And another quote that I love is, sometimes good things fall apart so great things can fall together. And I just have to keep remembering that I don't have control over the future. I don't know what's coming. I can sit and I can worry. I can play worst case scenarios. And I was looking like, okay, so where might I live if I get evicted? Or how am I, should I move? Should I, move to Oklahoma? Should I move to Texas? Should I move back to Minnesota? Like, do I go live with my dad? Like, what if I get eviction on my history or whatever? And then not only that, but I don't have income coming in yet to report to get qualified for an apartment, right? Even though I know that I've got the money to pay for it coming, it's just this hurry up and wait. And I'm not sure what the lesson is for sure. But sometimes it can just feel like it's one thing after another, after another, after another. And when I came home, I was driving home tonight. And it was like driving through a monsoon for over half of the drive, probably 3/4 of the drive. And then I came home, and in the door was that letter I had gotten the email on Friday, but it was a letter from the apartment complex. And my HelloFresh meal that came late and canceled. I ended up canceling my service because I was just having like bad service after bad service after bad service, and it just wasn't working out. It was sitting there, and finally it got delivered to my door, which is the right place for it to be delivered, but it was delivered late and I wasn't home. So now the meat and the food in there is no longer cold and it's rotten and I have to throw it away. And I could have really been like, oh my gosh, could this night get any worse? Or I could say, Anna, this is happening for you. It's not happening to you. There are so many blessings. I had an amazing weekend, and I got to meet new people. I got to strengthen my relationship with Chaz, and we got to spend some time with Braxton. And I got to talk with family and friends on my drive. I got to do a lot of personal development. I am grateful that I have a vehicle that handles so well in weather, so that I can travel well. I mean, there's just so much to be grateful for. And so I'm going to keep it short today and this week because I'm exhausted and I am soaking wet. I just came in from unloading my car and then having to go back and dump the HelloFresh box out, and it really started pouring down rain. So I'm going to take some good and we lost an hour of sleep, right? But it was such an amazing weekend, and I'm going to choose to be grateful for all of the wonderful things that have happened. And I'm going to remind myself, and I want to remind you that whatever it is that you're going through, whatever struggles, whatever tough situations, maybe it's a medical situation, maybe it's a financial situation, maybe it's a health situation, maybe it is something that's completely out of your control. Number one, remember that there are always people that would give anything to have your story. Oh, yeah. So another thing tonight, I'm talking with my friends and I'm trying to figure out, because I've changed my bank account and my address since the last stimulus check. And so I'm not going to get my stimulus, and I'm kind of just this is all so crazy. This whole filing for unemployment, getting health insurance, and all of the things, because I've gotten divorced. I've moved and lived in 3 states, paying for taxes, it can all be overwhelming. And I can get bogged down by all of it, or I can say, okay, God, what is it that you're trying to show me? And what is it that I can learn? And what is it that is happening for me, even though it feels like it's happening to me right now? So with that, I hope you can apply some of those thoughts to things that are happening in your own life. Remember that you are amazing. You're flawsome. The world can be flawed and tough and still be amazing, just like you can be flawed and imperfect and make mistakes and make bad choices and still be amazing. So with that, may you be safe. May you be happy and content. May you be strong and healthy. May you be at ease, and may you remember that things are happening for you, not to you. Take care, guys. Thanks so much for your continued support, and I will see you guys next week for episode 4 of the Flossom Way podcast. Good night, or good morning, or good afternoon, whatever you're listening. Bye-bye.